Press. My name is Leanna George. I'm the author and co-owner of Scrivenings Press. And here on ScrivTalk, we enjoy sitting down with our authors to talk about their stories, their inspiration, and the journey behind the books they write. And today I'm excited to have returning to ScrivTalk, Jim and Susan Page Davis. They were just with us back in January with the release of their novel, The Seafaring Women of the Vera B. And now they have book two, The Scottish Lass, coming out very soon. And so they are back with us to talk about this book two and all the good stuff that goes with with the behind the scenes of writing a novel. So welcome, Susan and Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, like I said, you guys are returning. It's only been about 2 months since I know it was a repub, but it's only been about 2 months since the Vera B came out. But I'd like to, before we dig into the Scottish Lass, I wanted to kind of catch up our audience in case somebody hasn't read The Seafaring Women of the Vera B. What can they expect when they step aboard for the first time?
Well, it's a brig, a sailing ship run by women in the 1850s, and it
Okay.
is kind of a large cast. There's 15 or 20 people on board, and we hope, you get to know them all, but in each book we try to focus in on different characters.
hmm So, are you
Yeah,
saying this is going to be like a 15 book series?
we'll see.
Oh, no idea. We're just wrapping up book three, so
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, we have some ideas for book four, but haven't figured out a plot for sure yet. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, how does the Scottish Lass build upon the world of the Verity while still standing on its own? What?
well, it does build very closely on the uh, first book on the Seafaring Women. It's got most of the same characters and brings in some new ones and continues their journey and their life experiences. Um, the ship left Australia in book one, and at the end of that book, they were heading next to Batavia, the Dutch East Indies, where they were going to repair the ship because of some things that happened with in book one. Not to have too many spoilers,
Yeah,
but
no spoilers.
they did have some reasons to repair the ship and to maybe get some time off and healing. So they had to go to the next good port was Batavia, which in book two that's where they start out.
Okay.
And yeah, so but it is the almost it's very contiguous. You can read book two by itself. I would think it would be a little confusing, maybe a little, but I think enough is explained that you could jump in and read it by itself.
Yeah. I think it's hard because nowadays so many people hear series and they're so used to um, book one being about somebody and then book two being about somebody that was a side character or a
yeah.
smaller character, right? In book two, and that they could stand alone, but sometimes there are some continuation series like this that it does help and minimizes confusion because I know that's one of
Yeah.
the things that I've gotten the most
Yeah.
feedback about my series is that oh, I read book three and didn't realize I was missing information from book one and two, right? And so
Yeah.
it does make it hard.
Well, the readers will see most of the same characters recur from book one into book two. And the thing is, some of these young women are teenagers. And by this time, though, they've kind of solidified into a good, solid crew
Mhm.
and they are maturing. And we also, as I said, we focus in on Fiona in the Scottish Lass, and she gets separated from the rest of them, and you see a bit more of her than you do some of the other sailors.
Mm.
And I think it can be read on its own, but I think people might enjoy it more if they've read the first book.
Sure, sure. Because the crew is going back to find her. So,
Yes.
I mean, that's if you don't understand the relationships, then you may not understand the importance of why they feel like they have to go back and get her,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, kind of thing. So, yeah. So hopefully people will start reading book one and then just can't put it down and
Yeah.
boom, we're ready for book two. So that's the good part about releasing them so close together.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let's talk about this rescue mission because that the story in itself is really at its core about this. And so what drew you to that kind of high stakes plot?
Do you want to speak first? Go ahead,
Well,
Jim.
uh, I mean, we finished book one with a lot of high action,
Hmm.
and we knew we needed to keep that up, or the readers were going to be disappointed. So we knew that we had to have something high stakes, and we wanted to keep things moving and have a lot of peril and drama and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So um, we came up with that plot. I don't remember. I almost think that this plot was most. I can't remember how much of it Mom put together, but I know I put a lot of it together.
You did, and the villain of the story was totally out of his head. I mean, maybe we're going to talk about that later, but
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised by this character that we introduced. He was quite the addition, but yeah, every one of these books has a lot of action, and it has slower times too, but
sure.
it has some, well, usually it has some type of a rescue,
Yeah,
and the crew kind of put their lives on the line for each other, really.
yeah, yeah. And that's, I mean, it's a beautiful thing too, right? But we know that good books without, if they don't have conflict or they don't have some stakes and things like that, it really isn't worth much reading, right?
Right,
Right.
So
right.
we definitely want to have those conflicts and things. So, well, let's talk about Alice because again, she is a major character, and now
Mhm.
she's facing some leadership challenges. How has she grown since book one?
I think she's
Massively.
more confident and stronger. What do you think, Jim?
Oh, absolutely. She was. I mean, we picked her up at a weak moment in her life when her husband had just died,
Mhm.
and she was stranded in a foreign port. That's in book one.
Hmm.
So we went from there toward the end of that book. Not to give spoilers, of course, but she really that book grew her up a lot. Being responsible for a ship full of women, becoming the captain, and suddenly realizing that people's lives depended on her.
Yeah,
She didn't quite have that full comprehension when they set out on their journey when they left Melbourne.
yeah.
Um, so by book two, they've accomplished some major. They've gotten past some major obstacles in book one.
Hmm.
Um, had some successes and some triumphs and tragedies,
Yeah,
and they've really knit well together as a crew because of facing adversity together. And she has become much more confident and a distinct leader. But yes, this book throws her into a whole new set of challenges, and
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it is tough for her. But it's she's in the next level of school now, so to speak, and she
yeah,
has she has to do higher math and higher social skills, and she has to do it all comes at her, and she has to try to keep it all together for the crew.
sure.
I think she is learning or has learned that she needs to trust her own instincts and that she can go against what other people think
Yep.
is right and make her own decision.
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing to portray, especially for women readers, right? Who
Yep.
somebody might be struggling with that, but can
Mhm.
see that through the storyline and be encouraged. That's a beautiful thing.
And her faith in God has increased too. She knew the Lord at the beginning, but now her faith has been stretched and grown.
Yeah. Oh, I can relate. I can definitely relate. Well, that's awesome. I look forward to reading more about Alice and how she keeps handling things. But let's talk about Fiona. Sorry, my dog has decided that she wants to be part of this interview. She really wants to see you guys. Um, let's talk about Fiona because she is a major role here, and I think fiery would be a good way to describe her.
Yeah.
But what makes her stand out from the other women of the Vera B and why her for this book?
Well,
Well,
she's very courageous and she refuses to be taken advantage of.
Hmm.
And when she's off away from the others and has to defend herself, she has to make a lot of hard decisions, but she's very intelligent and she's wise. She knows when to push things and when not to.
Hmm.
What do you think, Jim? He handles all the Scottish dialect and all that for us.
yeah, I fear we had to dumb it down a little so
Yeah,
the
we
Americans
did.
get it. But yeah, well, I mean, she's the only Scottish member of the crew,
Hmm.
and she's older than some of her um, shipmates, and not real old. I just in her mid 20s, maybe. I forget how old we had her, but she she had seen a lot of adversity before this, but she also came from a decent family in the beginning,
Hmm.
and so she did have some background of much more of a decent upbringing than a lot of the other women. She was one of the ones that was rescued from the brothel in book one.
Okay.
So she has all that in her background, and it's grim, and she hates it. She does know the Lord at the beginning of this book, but again, she's a baby in faith, and she really has to lean on the Lord during this.
Hmm.
And she also grows massively in her faith, and has to she gets put in these situations where she asks herself, is the Lord really going to do anything
Hmm.
here? Is this going to end badly, but she does grow, and she dares to dare.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds exciting. Why, like I said, why her for this book? Why not one of the other girls?
I think we picked her for one thing because she had a strong personality.
Hmm.
And, you know, the first mate on the ship she's kidnapped on, Tommy, is a real blessing to her. And we wanted to get something going there.
Yeah, that was my next question. Let's talk about her
Yeah,
romance a little bit. Remind me who writes the romance in these books.
I think we both do, but
Okay. Is it weird to
uh,
write romance with your mom, Jim?
Not really.
No? Oh, well, that's good. I love the dynamic the two of you had to be able to write together. That's really cool. That's really neat. So, yeah, so tell me a little bit about this relationship that she's building with Tommy.
she had met him before. And in fact, when they were in Batavia, which we know today as Java, um, they were together at a social event. And, the shipmates from the two ships had met. They didn't know each other real well, but
Hmm.
when she's taken on board this other ship, she's able to, advance that, what do I want to say, that acquaintance a
Mhm.
little bit. I mean,
Well, the thing
they're
is, I
both
mean,
under duress.
Sure.
yeah, they are both under duress. They're both kidnapped, essentially, and they are the we'll call them pirates. That's essentially what they were. These men did play them off against each other.
Yeah.
Both of them told both of them, "You need to do what we're telling you to do, or we're going to hurt the other one."
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so they would get her to do what they wanted her to do by threatening Tommy. They'd get him to do their bidding by threatening Fiona. So they both were trying to look out for each other, but they also were kept mostly apart.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they needed him to navigate because none of them could read or navigate.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why they kept him. They took the ship over. It was Captain Stark's ship, and they took it over from him, bonked him on the head, and tossed him overboard or whatever, delivered him to shore or something. But yeah, it was so that they were just left. These guys made off with the ship and Fiona and Tommy.
Hmm.
It
Okay. Well,
makes it it
okay.
makes it harder for Fiona too because when she realizes the only reason they kept Tommy was to have him navigate for them, if she reveals that she has some knowledge in that area too and has been getting some training from Captain Alice,
Right.
then they wouldn't need Tommy any longer. So, it's a challenge to her to keep her some of her knowledge secret.
Right. Right. Yeah. Uh, well, you mentioned Stark a minute ago, not Iron Man Stark, but his name is Elwood Stark in this story, and he
Yeah.
comes in with his own crisis. So, what role does he play in shaping this story?
He's very important, and
Yeah.
this is something that I wanted to make sure we kept people guessing toward the end. So I don't want to say too much about
Sure.
him, but he's one of the characters that keeps you guessing
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
as to exactly what all his motives are and why is it that he doesn't reveal everything he knows to everyone who could benefit from it.
Mm,
So we learn early on that he knows certain things that he doesn't tell about until later, and
Right. And that
so
makes people not trust him.
mm,
yeah.
So,
So we
yeah.
need to, so not to give away anything too much, but
Sure.
that's something I wanted to keep that thread moving as long as
mhm,
possible throughout the stories, so you would wonder exactly where things were going to end up.
Right. Well,
mhm.
that's good because we always want to keep the readers guessing and turning the pages, and so you've crafted that really well. So
He's he's a
good job on
conflicted
that.
character. Yeah, he's a conflicted character,
Yeah.
and his motivations are under pressure. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much either, but he remains a major character in book three as well. He's
Okay.
important to some of the plot lines.
Okay. So do you have this whole thing plotted out several books down, or are you just plotting it
No.
each book as you come along?
No, we have to get together and hash over plot lines and what can we do with this character and who should have a point of view and all this kind of stuff. And we go
Yeah.
on and on for a long time before we're ready to actually write it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
it really is it's hard to describe how we go over this stuff, but we can't agree on the plot one any more than one book at a time, and usually
Yeah.
less. So, so what I mean by that is I think for all, I mean, the first book, I think the plot was a little easier to lay out, but
Yeah.
with with but even for that one and for all three of them, we really had to hash it through a lot, and
Yeah.
um,
And we go through it and through it and through it. And people have asked me how many times go back and go through your book before it's ready. And I said, well, at least six. But I mean, we change a lot of stuff. And we're looking now toward, do we want to do book four? And they're heading off for America, and anything can happen. And who's going to stay with the ship, and where in America are they going to land, and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
everything's wide open at this point.
Yeah, yeah, it truly is. I mean, but that's the beauty for a writer, right? Endless
Yeah.
possibilities for your brain to just come up with something.
Yeah.
well, we've left a lot of story arc loose ends that will need to be resolved sooner or later. So,
Sure.
um, that's was kind of the point. Is each one of these characters has their own story to tell, and we try to tell concentrate on several of the stories per book.
Yeah.
So Fiona obviously gets really good. We get a good close up of her on her book, The Scottish Lass. But
Okay.
this really draws out Stark also, and Lizzie, and um, yeah, and several others.
All right, so we've talked about the good guys in the book. Let's talk about the bad guy. And let's talk about Trafton, because he seems pretty formidable. So, what motivated him and what makes him especially dangerous?
I think he sprang full grown into Jim's mind. I don't know. You tell, where did he come from?
Well, he came from the bowels of the Royal Navy.
Mm,
Um, he had escaped from the Royal Navy, which is basically means that he needs to be hung if they catch him. Um, so the Royal Navy did not take too kindly to deserters, but
mm,
he was press ganged into the Royal Navy in the first place, and so he's an old acquaintance or friend, depending on who's telling the story
mm.
of of Elwood Stark. They used to sail together many years earlier, and he didn't Stark did not expect to run into him in Batavia, hadn't didn't know where he'd ended up. And he found him hiding out there from the Royal Navy in Batavia, which of course is a Dutch port. And but Trafton is a very base and crude man, but he kind of doesn't see himself that way. He sees himself as more uh debonair, and like he's obviously not got any kind of a aristocracy to him, but he thinks of himself a little higher than other people would
He thinks
think of
he's
him.
more clever and
Mm.
Clever,
smarter.
very
And
Oh,
clever.
yeah, those are the good kind of antagonists. Those are the ones that,
yeah.
yeah, those are the good ones.
He's cold and calculating, but he's also very eccentric.
Mm,
So sometimes those eccentricities, well, if you don't know how to read him, that can make him very unpredictable. And yet Stark knows him well enough that he thinks he can predict him.
mm, okay.
Trafton, he just has no conscience
Mm,
and he wants to get for himself, what other people have, you know, in their possession or whatever.
yeah,
He just wants to get what he can any way that he can. So,
sure. Yeah. Again, that's a good antagonist for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So, I had a question. Um, these characters, they have to make um some really hard choices, right? Because they
Yeah.
have to choose whether or not they're going to risk everything for others. So, what was the thinking behind that? I mean, why make them ch make choices that will, you know, have to be really sacrificial if that's
I think the women of the Vera B have all come to care deeply about each other. And that's really important because it means that if you truly love someone or care about them as a friend, but more than that, even as sisters almost, then you're going to take risks for them.
Yeah. And even though they squabble amongst each other, some they don't get along perfectly,
Mm,
but they still they still take out for each other. Maybe that's not the best way to say it. They they take up for each other,
yeah.
um, and if they not to touch too much on book one, but something kind of like that happened in book one, and they had to deal with it. So um, they at book two, there has been some groundwork laid for them. They remember that certain people took big risks in book one.
Mhm.
And then like, well, we gotta we're not leaving Fiona behind. they
Yeah.
don't leave they don't leave anybody behind unless it's by agreement.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah. It sound like
so
sisters, actually. Because I have
absolutely.
two daughters. And so, like you said, they love each other, but they can squabble. Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
like sisters for sure. Yeah. Well, what is it you want people to take away from this story, um, when they read it?
You only die once. Take all the risks that if you need to. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, you know, some people live very boring lives, and hopefully they read books so to get the excitement. But anybody that does get out there and take risks, it's its own. It's a different way of living.
It is for sure. Yeah.
Somebody can just stay home and do some things that are safe all their life,
Yeah.
but or you could go sailing and run into storms and pirates and problems like that, and it's a whole different ball game. Just same as the EMTs and police officers around you, they live a different life. If you're not that one of them or have one in a close family member,
Hmm.
you don't really know what it's like. And um, but to be out on the sea and in these tropical areas running into these different hazards, it's a whole different thing than sitting at home and going to the ladies missionary meeting
Yeah.
or what you do. So it's uh now they started out they needing or wanting to leave Australia and go to either the United Kingdom or the United States,
Hmm.
different members of the crew. And so they're all motivated to go have a better life somewhere or to get back to a life they had or think they might have had
Hmm.
at one point. And so they do have end goals, and they they don't want to lose sight of that. But when something happens like Fiona getting kidnapped, then this whole book they got sidetracked from their main goal of getting back to England, and so they had to stop what they were doing and go after her
Yeah.
and get that figured out before they can move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know all of them wanted a better life than what they had had in
Mm.
Australia for whatever reason. I mean, they have different paths, but I think some of them are going to find their true home before they even reach England. So I don't want to give away too much, but
Sure.
even as we go on into book three, they're still looking, to get that go back home thing.
Hmm.
And for some of them, it's a real surprise where that ends up being.
You know, I just the thought that hit me just now when you said something was, usually in the TV move in a TV show or something, eventually one of our favorites dies. You're not going to do that to any of these women, are you?
Oh,
Or if you are, you're not going to tell me, right?
I know we're not. I'm
couldn't
trying to
tell
think
me.
real quick in book two. I don't think we lost any crew members in book two, did we, Jim? But
Well,
I
did we
won't
want to
say
admit
anything
that?
about book three.
Can't
Did
make any
we want to
promises.
admit that though? Uh,
Yeah,
Well, I love the way you said that, Jim. That risk is a part of life, and that we need to all be willing to take some risks
yeah,
sometimes, right? Whether it's just taking a risk, stepping outside your front door,
yeah,
or diving into a dream that maybe you didn't think you could actually ever do, right? Um, and I love that stories can help teach us things that where we are at the time and can truly encourage our hearts and give us the courage. And so I love that this book is going to offer that to somebody who picks this book up.
yeah,
yeah, and it's one thing I really like about it is about the series is that in each book we get some new people, and
Mm,
uh, there are some people that rotate off the crew for one reason or another,
yeah.
whether they get married and stay somewhere or they um, something happens where they retire or they die or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe. You're not saying.
they get tired of sailing and they're done, whatever.
Yeah.
So or they get where they were planning to go, and so we get new people every time. So this book does give us several two new ladies on the Vera B,
Okay.
and also we get to see some of the male sailors from the other vessel also and get to know them better, including some of the good guys.
Okay.
So that's good. And we like to carry a lot of these characters over and see how they develop.
Yeah.
And I like how when they take off to go rescue Fiona, they have a couple of new crew members who don't know anything yet, and they're now plunged into the crisis, just like the whole crew was plunged into the crisis when they left Australia in book one. So now these two new ladies, they are, their heads swimming with all the new overload of information and danger and everything. But they're along for this too, and they get to eventually show their courage as well,
Yeah.
even in the.
Sorry for the interruption and the dog lick. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
So with so many different characters coming in and out, like you have them, which I think is great because, right, it keeps the story moving, it keeps people on their toes when they're reading. Um, but how do you keep such detailed notes about all these characters?
Well, we keep a series guide
Uh-huh.
and we hash it over and we try to put anything that's unique about them or important about them in there so that we can go look at it and refresh our memories anytime. But it is hard. Some of the girls that we haven't really dived into their personal lives, they kind of seem a little, they're just alike, and we're trying
Yeah.
to study some of that.
Yeah, I was going to
Well,
say,
they
how
don't.
do you, with such a large cast, how do you make each one unique and individual so they don't start reading like each other?
Yeah.
We uh we made sure that they had some distinguishing physical characteristics as much as possible.
Hmm.
And we give them some quick background because they're not all from the same place. They're not all from the same upbringing. And they're not even all the same ethnicity. So, I mean, even within the British Empire, you have women that were born in Australia, some that were born in England, some in Scotland, one in Scotland, some in Ireland. And so, there's some variation there and
And the
different.
new the new characters that we bring on in well, they came at the end of book one into book two. Um, they're very different. We have a missionary's daughter, and we
Mm.
have a woman who was formerly a slave.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
we just try to make each new character we bring in very different from the others.
Yeah. And having such distinct backgrounds and what's the word I'm looking for? You know, societal um expectations that really
Yes,
does add some unique story, right? To their
Yes,
characters, right? So because they're all the point I'm trying to say is they're all going to come with a set of expectations and a mindset because of where they're coming from, which will
right.
eventually that all has to converge on the ship, right? Or somehow, and then you've got to deal with all of that, which to me would create some conflict, which is good for the story. But it also, I think, helps people to see how to overcome their differences and their backgrounds.
yes.
Yeah. Well, just for a quick example, I think it's well, it may be at the end of book one, but anyway, when we bring on
It's book
the
two.
woman who was a slave, another sailor doesn't want to sleep in the same hammock that she sleeps in because they rotate during their watch.
Hmm.
One person will sleep in this hammock, and then another person will sleep in the same bed basically during their watch.
Yeah,
So she doesn't want to share the bunk with somebody who's of another race,
yeah,
and that has to be worked out. And yeah,
yeah,
that's a
But
small thing, but I mean, yeah, we do.
yeah. Hold on a second.
But Captain Alice can,
Dog
I'm
is
sorry,
chewing on
I'm
something I had to
interrupting
get
you.
out.
I just want to say Captain Alice can do whatever she wants on her ship, but then when they hit land, it's different again. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I can.
well, and just yeah, those two characters were brought in at the beginning of book two. So there was one we brought in at the end of book one, and that was Sri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, I think that still speaks so loudly to today's society and the things that we see going on, right? And hopefully
Mhm.
will help people to see maybe in a way that they've never thought of before, right? How they probably don't realize, oh, I'm going to read this book about a women crew, and don't realize that maybe some of their beliefs or viewpoints get challenged, and they don't
Yeah.
even realize that. That's beautiful writing for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've been on for a long time. I
Oh,
appreciate your
yeah.
patience with me and my overactive dog. Um, so she's new, so she's learning. Um, so tell me a little bit about what's next for the Vera B. So with that, I mean, I know you're still in the planning and the process, early
Yeah.
stages. What's going on for
Ultimately,
this?
they're heading for the United States, but
Mhm.
it's
Well, that would be book 4.
1854. So, I mean, things aren't like they are now. And we know some of them had relatives in the United States. Sonia, the Norwegian girl, has extended family in the United States. Betsy, the woman who was a slave, has children she needs to find. And the sailors from the other ship were mostly from New England or wherever. So there are several people who have connections in the United States. So a lot of things could happen. Go ahead, Jimbo.
Well, wasn't sure if she meant what's going to happen in book 3 because we've been talking mainly about book 2. But
Oh,
yeah,
yep. I
Oh, it's
jumped
okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
but either way, yeah, in book 3, I mean, we've gotten the written, but it's just still in the editing stages.
Yeah.
That one, they do, they are going to make it to the British Isles, and so I don't want to do too much spoiling, but a lot of the women were planning to stay there,
Mm,
and not all of them find things to be quite what they expected. So we're gonna have to figure out what's
yeah.
going to happen. And
Yeah.
they've got a lot of things to deal. We deal a lot with Sarah. She's a viewpoint for the first time in book 3, um, and we learn a lot more about her story and the struggles that she finds when she gets back to England because, well, when she left Australia, she was basically leaving her husband who had left her,
Mm,
but he had become very problematic
mm,
there in Australia, and so she went back to England.
mm.
And when she gets to England, she finds that some of the support systems that she expected to find there are not supporting her as she thought they might. So she has to go through a lot, and they end up going. I think I don't want to tell too much, but they end up going up to Scotland, and more than one. I'll just say that more than one of the crew members more than one of the ladies might get married or
Okay.
for it. So, not to tell who, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, Jim, I love how give us these little breadcrumbs that just make us want to go, I got to read it. I got to read it. I got to read it. So I hope readers will use your words and your Susan's as well and what you've shared here today to really drive some interest and some intrigue to grab the book and start reading. So, thank you both for joining me today. Before I let you go, make sure to tell readers how they can connect with you. Susan?
Well, my website, my email, there's a contact button on my website. It's my name, susanpagedavis.com.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook, and my brain is other places.
Okay.
Jimmy.
yes.
I'm
So
sorry, Jim.
he sometimes tells me that.
That's
Um,
good.
Yeah. Well, my husband's Jim too, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so basically, my website is jsdauthor.com,
Okay.
and that's my initials jsdauthor.com. And I have a somewhat active Facebook page, James Samuel Davis, I don't remember. I don't think it says author, but if you can't find the right James Samuel Davis, try James Samuel Davis and put author in your search also.
The
So
tractor guy, you'll find him if you put the tractor guy, right? That tractor guy.
that might help. I can't remember. I don't think that's in the official title though.
Okay.
So
Well, I'll put links to everything in the
Okay.
notes so people can
good.
find you easily. So thanks again for joining me. I will look forward to seeing you a little bit later this year when we come back and we discuss
Yeah.
book three. That'll be fun. Um,
Yeah.
and so I hope that you'll continue to have success as you write. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and I know that your audience is going to be super excited to see what happens in book two and to wait what happens is to come in book three. So thank you
Okay.
very much. I appreciate everyone who's been watching today. We love being able to sit down with our authors and share this time with them and with you. And so I hope you will continue to watch our channel if you haven't already. I hope that you will click the subscribe button so you'll never miss out when another Script Talk interview is released. And of course, make sure to like us and tell others about us as well, because I think one of the greatest things that we can learn about a book is what was behind it. That just adds a little bit more depth and understanding as well. So be sure you always catch one of our episodes. So until next time, thanks again for joining us and happy reading. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.